This episode is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful website that won't break the internet. Loving yourself is not a consolation prize because no one else will love you.
You're such an idiot.
Loving yourself is foundational for giving and receiving love.
It's not right to hold a friend back from her dreams. You don't own her.
Working on yourself and progressing is the most profound form of self-love because you're investing in yourself.
Come on, get out of here. The world's waiting for you, kid.
West Coast, we're coming to California, baby!
West Coast, Best Coast! In February, what are the dates?
The 18th and the 20th?
Yes,
Nailed
18th
it.
in Los Angeles, 20th in the Bay Area. We're going to be doing live shows at venues. There will be a link.
Movie Couples Therapy for Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann. You can dive into this treasure trove of therapeutic insights.
Bermuda Love Triangle.
Oh, when you throw Jack in there? Oh yeah, we are.
Good.
You're gonna want to be there.
A Q&A. We're going to have a live meet and greet. VIP tickets for some reason.
And merch!
Merch!
Come see us, come hang out with us in California in February 2026. Link is in the description below to get the details and to buy your tickets.
Yes, it will be fun.
That's your capper? Hello, and welcome to Cinema Therapy. I'm Jonathan Decker, licensed therapist.
Yep, that's what you are.
I will do this like a human.
Okay.
Hello, and welcome to Cinema Therapy. I'm Jonathan Decker, licensed therapist who loves movies. This is over there.
Alan Seawright, a professional filmmaker who needs therapy, and today we're joined by...
Our love child.
Not really, but look. This is what would happen.
I'm Bryson.
And we've ruined him. He's the creator of Nations. My leg! And he's deeply uncomfortable right now.
Blinking SOS.
All right, well, I'm sure he'll catch up later in the episode. We're going to talk today about Wreck-It Ralph 2, or Ralph Breaks the Internet, sorry, and the concept of insecure attachment. Ralph is anxiously attached, and he is a clingy friend. Let's dive in.
But now, I got a best friend who just happens to be the coolest kid in the whole arcade.
Aw, thanks, pal.
Watch this.
Now, you wouldn't know it from this clip.
Hold on! All right, let's go.
Ralph has a secure attachment with Vanellope right now.
Sure.
The relationship, the friendship is very stable, so he doesn't seem anxious or clingy. But we know that from the first film, he carries attachment wounds.
Yes.
From being rejected, from being villainized or vilified, not villainized. Actually, both. I've heard it both ways.
Sure.
I'd do different in that scenario would be not having to go to work. Other than that, I wouldn't change a thing.
But insecure attachment, like cracks in a foundation, the building can still stand until pressure is applied, right? And so Ralph right now looks and seems like he's healthy and he's in a good place. And he is, as long as nothing goes wrong.
Same.
Wow. I mean, kind of same for all of us, but that, I felt things. There was depth there.
Are you good to do this today, buddy? Are you?
Take 5. Just gonna go in there. Cry one out real quick.
So this episode is based on John Bulby's attachment theory, which essentially says that children, depending on their relationship with their caretakers, develop secure attachments or insecure attachments.
Right.
And the insecure attachments take one of two forms, at least in Bulby's theory. It's branched out since then. But anxious or avoidant. Avoidant is, I was never loved in any way, shape, or form, so I'm going to fend for myself. Anxious is, I was loved sporadically, and I'm trying to figure out what the behaviors are, how to act, and how to be so that I can get more love. Hence the anxiety.
It's a puppy chasing scritches.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So what you're saying is, it is my parents' fault.
Are we your parents or are your parents your parents? Because if we're your parents, we didn't do a damn thing.
Both. It couldn't be me. It couldn't be me that's the issue.
No, heavens no. I hear that,
Doesn't
a lot.
even sound right.
Man, that's textbook, Bryson. That's. I'm here for therapy so you can fix everybody else in my life. Through osmosis. Hey, Alan, we're going to the internet.
Aren't we there already?
Yes! We even have our own cinema therapy website.
It was so easy to build and customize using Squarespace, today's sponsor.
We found a template that worked really well as a starting point for us.
From one of the many professionally designed templates that Squarespace offers to everyone.
And then it was so easy to customize with intuitive drag and drop editing and awesome visual designs.
Your website can look as awesome as the high-res graphics in Slaughter Race.
Gotta get that splatter in HD, am I right?
Yucky.
Squarespace Domains also makes it easy for you to find the best site name for your website at one all-inclusive price.
No hidden fees or add-ons required.
And every Squarespace domain comes with advanced privacy and security tools.
Your site will be safe even from the Ralph insecurity virus monster.
Squarespace SEO tools will help you to get discovered fast.
Faster than Shank and Vanellope racing through the streets.
Every website is optimized to be indexed with an auto-generated sitemap.
Meta descriptions and more.
So your site will show up more often in search engines.
And reach more of your ideal audience or customers.
So whether you need to build a website for your online racing game, Zoom Zoom,
Or your overeager search engine.
or to host your Which Princess Are You quiz,
I'm a Moana.
I'm Rapunzel.
Squarespace will work for you and you won't have to spend months building a website.
Check out squarespace.com for a free trial and when you're ready to launch.
Go to squarespace.com/cinematherapy and use code
Cinema Therapy.
to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Fix-It Felix Jr. was my favorite game. Mine too. Ralph's videos stink. What? So stupid. Ralph is the worst. I hate him. He's so fat and ugly. Just a worthless bum alone on a pile of bricks.
I love that they cut to the shot where he's teeny tiny and there's all these things looming over him.
Scrolling upward and upward.
First rule of the internet. Do not read the comments. Should have told you that. Look, this place can bring out the worst in some people, but you gotta ignore all this. This isn't about you.
And
Ralph.
we'll talk
It's
about this in a
them.
second. We do have the nicest comment section on the internet. We still relate to this. Like,
Hated
we
me
get
my
hate.
whole life for being a bad guy. It's just a good reminder that this is the only heart that really matters.
Oh.
Vanellope
Only
gave me
one.
this. And as long as she likes me, I don't need anybody else. And I sure don't need the
Kinda
internet.
need yourself, buddy.
Even putting that qualifier is, it's a bummer. Because, okay, but what if it sucks to even consider, sometimes you have to think about, like, who am I if this person doesn't love me anymore? Or if this person, like,
Me and the kid are like shoes and socks, or peanut butter and bacon. One cannot exist without the other.
We will be fine if we're apart for a minute.
you have to get to that point of loving yourself the way you are,
Yeah.
while also striving for positive growth. I feel like in today's society,
Yeah.
people pick one.
Yeah.
Like, I love myself or I'm working on myself. And I think you should be doing both.
Yeah.
And
Work on yourself because you love
Because you
yourself.
love
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like when you see a toddler who's like struggling to like walk and like making mistakes, it's like you're not like judging them for like making mistakes. Like you love them where they are, and you
Yeah.
also hope that they'll get better at walking. That's how you should view yourself, is that like in certain areas you are still kind of a toddler and you're still learning different things, and it's important to be kind to yourself through that process. And it's really sad that Ralph, it's an external locus of control.
Yeah, well, and this speaks to, I was talking earlier about having a cracked foundation. That's what an insecure attachment represents. If you don't truly love yourself, you're reliant on others,
And it's never enough.
and they might let you down.
Yeah.
Or they might move away, or they might die, or you might need different things out of life. And that foundation we see with Ralph, the cracks were there. He thought he was secure and stable, but now the pressure is being applied. And the cracks are starting to widen, and he's holding on to Vanellope as, this is what's keeping me standing.
I do have a really sweet fan base. They're all really sweet. And something Rebecca often says is that, like, comment sections are a little bit like a mirror. Like, you attract people that are
Yeah.
like-minded to you, that are similar to you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean every comment is like, oh, that's coming from me. But by and large, my comment section is very sweet. People are very kind. But everyone is going to get some nasty comments from time to time.
Yeah.
If you're gonna give stock to any of them, you have to give stock to all of them. And
Yeah.
so you kind of have to get
have
to
to
a
listen to the
point
good ones, too.
where how much sway over your life are you going to give these?
We would love 2 hot cocos, please.
Thank you.
They're so annoying.
I think comment sections are also a mirror to the people making the comments.
Yes.
Because we have said any number of times things on the show with good intentions, and people hear or see a man is attacking me. We're like, oh no, we weren't trying to attack anybody, but they have experience with all sorts of bad men, for example. And so the thing, to answer your question, I love respectful feedback. If people are very harsh or clearly triggered, I could say, oh, that actually has nothing to do with us.
Yeah, that's about them more than it is about us.
Right. And then when you get to places like, I hate him, he's so fat and ugly, there are people who are so miserable and unhappy that just spills out in any direction they can put it, that they think they can get away with, because that's their unhealthy catharsis.
Keep rocking that dead ball.
Get it!
Yeah.
And people feel on the internet they're hiding behind an avatar that they can just unload and be vicious and nasty. And I love to remind people, hey, a real person is reading these comments. And very often people go, oh, I'm so sorry. Like,
Yep.
the cracks in Ralph's foundation are widening. But he's like, as long as I've got Vanellope, I'm okay. But then he hears her talking with Shank about how she thinks that she's just going to leave Ralph, leave the arcade, and live in Slaughter Race because she's happy there. And at this point, Ralph just crumbles, and he starts getting increasingly desperate. And I would say stupid, but it's really just the fear clouds the judgment.
Yeah, it's sad to see because, like, when you love someone, I want you to be happy. If you're dating someone to a point where you actually, like, love them and they want to leave, it's almost like, I love you, and that means I want you to be happy.
Yeah.
And if that's not with me, then I want you to go find
Right.
your person. And the way Ralph is looking at it, it's more one-sided. It's more like, what can you give to me? Which is
Yep.
sad to see.
It's desperation, and it's attachment. It's an insecure attachment, but it's not love in this moment, because love is, I want you to be happy. I want what you want for you.
No, you didn't. It's okay.
This is all because of me and my glitch. I should have just stayed with you instead of following some stupid dream.
She thinks she broke Slaughter Race.
Yeah. But he released a virus to shut it down and
Sabotage her.
get her out and send her home.
Look, I didn't mean for it to happen like this. It's not supposed to be this bad.
You didn't mean for what to happen?
I might have kind of, sort of put a harmless little virus in the game.
A virus? You did this?
Well, I wouldn't have done anything if I hadn't heard you tell Shank that you wanted to live in Slaughter Race forever.
So you were spying on me?
Hey, you're not exactly innocent here. You were gonna ditch everybody and abandon Sugar Rush.
Oh, please, I'm one of 16 racers. They'd never miss me.
Well, what about me?
Why would I ever spend another second with you after what you did?
No!
So, a lot of defensiveness,
Yep.
no accountability. It's hard to take accountability when you're flooded with fear.
You will not follow me.
Vanellope, please,
A
please.
friend would
Anger.
never do what you did. Never. So you leave me alone.
That's just a bummer to see. It's a whole mess there. Because he sabotaged her and then finally had her saying what he wanted to hear. But, like, obviously the guilt was there, so he had to tell her, like, what happened, what he did. But like you said, it wasn't really accountability. And you could see him downplaying it. He's like, I kind of, sort of, a little virus in the game just to...
And why?
And it
Because
just
he was
wasn't-
hoping she wouldn't get mad and leave,
It wasn't
so he tried to downplay
respecting
it.
her autonomy.
Yeah.
Because he did spy on her and then saw that she had intention to do something and was like, okay, well, I can't let her do that.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is when you half-ass integrity because you're afraid of hurting somebody, angering them, or making them leave, you create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because when we go half-ass with integrity, people get hurt, they get angry, and they leave. And when people are angry, they say and do things that they later regret. I mean, Vanellope here is really lashing out, and understandably so. Ralph very selfishly destroyed her dream to protect his.
Right.
And in the process, just nuked the whole thing.
Yeah, it was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy because Ralph has all these fears like, oh, she's going to leave me. Like, I don't want her to go anywhere. So this is what I can do to make her stay. And we often shoot ourselves in the foot with our meddling.
It's like Sting and the Police saying, if you love someone, set them free, right? And the only way you can do that is if you love yourself enough to meet those needs instead of being wholly reliant on the other person. Right. This is why when I talk about secure attachment, Bulby was all about forming a secure attachment with your caregivers. The work that I do with adult clients is you start with a secure attachment with yourself. Loving yourself is not a consolation prize because no one else will love you. Loving yourself is foundational for giving and receiving love and allowing others to live their lives, being happy for them, drawing boundaries, accepting and honoring the boundaries of others. You can't do any of that if you don't love yourself and you're so reliant on others, you just bulldoze right through.
Yeah, because that's another self-fulfilling prophecy. You're either spiraling up or spiraling down.
Right, right.
And when you truly love yourself the way you are, and while also striving for positive growth, that gets projected out, and then that ironically attracts more people.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're just like looking for someone to give you your missing piece, people are gonna sense that.
Yeah,
like it's gonna come across.
We're going to get a nice, good look at Ralph's self-loathing here, which has driven all of his worst behaviors in this. That is hard to see, though.
You're such an idiot.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, yes, but also
Understandable.
that self-loathing is actually going to perpetuate the problem.
Yes.
Like, it's a cycle. The more you hate yourself, the more you cling to others to give you worth and validation. The more you cling to others to give you worth and validation, the more they withdraw, the more you hate yourself, and round we go.
And then you don't value yourself, so you do things that are beneath you, and then
Yeah.
it's just...
I've never experienced this. What's this like?
You're so full of crap.
Welcome back to Top 10 Lies. Number 1.
That'd be a fun show.
It's important to make the distinction between guilt and shame. Honestly, he should feel guilty.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
guilt,
yeah,
guilt
100%.
serves a purpose. Guilt is like, oh, you did something that doesn't align with you and your values. You need to make amends. But he's shaming himself here. So guilt says, I did bad. Shame says, I am bad.
Yeah.
You're
And-
such an idiot, not you did such a stupid thing.
You still have value, Butcher Boy.
And then you're just beating yourself up, and then it's
Yeah.
again, everything I'm saying, like, you're either going up or you're going down.
Yeah. Well, and then when you say I am bad, you keep doing harmful things because, like, well, I'm trash, so I might as well act like trash. And you just keep going.
Yeah. Oof.
Can't believe he did this.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude obviously made some real questionable choices here. But he also made a bee pun to save his best friend's game, so what can I say, kid? Life's complicated.
You ready to pipe the piper?
This is one of the most beautiful things about this screenplay, is the notion that
Your bestest friend.
Ralph is codependent and clingy and annoying, but he is also a very devoted, loyal friend with a lot of courage and selflessness.
People are complicated.
See how I do come across as needy and clingy and self-destructive, like
Self-reflection.
Yeah.
Listen, kid. I don't blame you for not wanting to be my friend anymore.
I never said I didn't want to be your friend. I said
You
were
actually said
acting
exactly
like a
that.
bad friend, which you were.
I know I was. But
Hey, my babies! That's the antivirus district. Straight ahead! Woo!
All right, to be continued, okay?
That's a
Well,
therapeutic
but didn't
realism.
she say a friend would never do what you did?
Well, she also said,
maybe-
why would I want anything to do with you?
Yeah.
So it was implied.
Yeah, the way it landed.
But you know what?
She was heightened. She was in a heightened emotional state.
Yeah.
Give her some grace, but also take ownership for it now.
Also in therapy, if this were therapy, people very often misremember what they said, which is why I have notes.
Okay.
I'm
You're
like,
actually, I have the receipts.
yeah, she's like, I never said that. I'm like, But like you're saying, she needs to own it because that's how she repairs her side of things. But right now, Ralph has to take the lead, not her.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
My favorite moment in this is, one, the self-reflection. Two, the perspective taking. I get it that you don't want to be friends with me. Now, his perspective taking is flawed because he doesn't actually encapsulate her experience. This is why it's important, perspective taking, to never say, I know how you feel. I love to say, if it were me, I'd feel da-da-da-da. Is that what's going on for you, or is it something different? That's a great like middle ground of I'm trying to understand, but I'm not assuming that I know what you're going through.
I love that. If someone expresses something they're going through that's hard, I'll express something that I've gone through that is the most similar that I can find. I say, I know how I felt during that, so it must feel really bad for you in this space. And then let them
talk about that. Yeah, let them talk about it. I also love they get partway through mending the fences, but to be continued.
Yeah.
And that is such a hopeful, beautiful statement, and it's also true to the process of therapy. I'd have had any number of couples or family members, they leave the therapy session, and the work isn't done. And they know that there's still wounds that need to heal. There's still bridges that need to be built. But they're also both committed to the process. And when he says to be continued, it's delivered by John C. Reilly, like with a question mark at the end. And Vanellope, I don't know if she nods or looks at him, but like the energy is definitely...
Yeah.
Ralph, we're going to be okay. I don't know how we're going to be okay, but I know that we're going to be okay because I value us. I've had so many therapy sessions end like that. I'm like, guys, we still got a road.
You need to let her go. I know. It's going to hurt a little bit when you do. Oh, who am I kidding? It's going to hurt a lot. But you're going to be okay. And we're going to be okay. Right, kid?
Of course we are, always.
Finally loving himself there.
Yeah.
See? No matter where she goes or where she lives, she's always gonna be our friend. And we just gotta trust her. Because that's what best friends do. Right?
I know you guys have some justified criticisms about this sequel compared to the first one, but that's a banger of a scene.
Oh yeah, it's an incredible scene. And man, the technical stuff of Mega Ralph is so creepy.
I feel good about this.
He finally looked the ugly parts of himself in the face, and it's all these parts of yourself that you can view as unlovable, but when you actually give yourself that love, there are no bad parts of me. This part of me is expressing in a negative way. Feelings just are, but actions can be bad and words can be hurtful.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I feel like he was hating this part of himself that feels attachment, which is a good part of himself, but it was out of balance.
That speaks to the source of his insecure attachment is, you go back to the first movie, how he's the villain, how he's rejected, how people think he's disgusting, how people don't want him around. And he finally finds one person who sees him, values him, and accepts him for who he is. Yeah. And he's like, this is enough. This is so much more than I've ever had. So I don't blame him for putting all of his eggs in the Vanellope basket. I do think, of course, it's an unhealthy, imbalanced dynamic. Yeah. But it makes sense where it comes from. And this is his growth journey across the two films to this place of total security. And he didn't get the security from Vanellope, because the fact is, Vanellope was always a secure friend for him. But until he loved himself, he couldn't truly accept her love. He couldn't trust in it. It was too fragile. It had to take the shape that he wanted it to take, or he was sure that he would lose it. And when you truly love yourself, and you truly accept, this is the person I'm going to be with all my days, and I'm going to take care of them, it's so much easier to let people go and trust that they'll still be part of your life.
Mm-hmm. And he's finally giving that to himself.
I love that the way they decided to visualize this in the movie is this gigantic Kaiju Ralph that's made of these massive creeping, crawling Ralphs.
Yes.
It looks and feels like how I feel inside when my insecurities are taking over. There's just a bunch of ants in my head, right? And it's just ugh. The Disney animation folks are world class. I mean, they're some of the best.
They might know what they're doing a little bit.
Maybe.
Now, you may be asking, okay, self-love, great concept. How? How do I do it? Bryson nailed it. You make friends with the dark parts of yourself, the quote-unquote unlovable parts of yourself, and you realize there's nothing shameful about them. That everything that you do, even the things that are harmful, comes from a place of wanting to be safe, respected, and loved. Yeah. And then you give yourself that, and then the behaviors can start to go away.
I feel like something I've struggled with for such a long time is that negative actions that I'd take coming from a part of me that is not a bad part of me, but then I'm like hating that part. Yeah. I'm like, oh, like I just need to get that out and then I'll be good. Just gotta.
And as we were saying earlier, when you're driven by self-loathing, you will never get rid of the behavior. Mm-hmm. You have to change because you love yourself.
Yeah. And then when you actually do love that part of yourself and be like, hey, I'm a human. This is part of me that has expressed in negative ways before. Yeah. But it's not a bad part of me. Right. And I love myself. And I love that part of me. I can still work on this and do it from a place of love. Yeah. Like, when I'm working on myself, it's not because who I am is unacceptable and terrible. It's because working on yourself and progressing is the most profound form of self-love. Because you're investing in yourself.
So, I guess I should probably head in there now, you know.
Oh, before you go, I wanted to give you this.
I'm so sorry I broke it, Ralph.
No, it's okay. Now we can both have a half. See?
That's actually really beautiful. Yeah. And I do love that Vanellope, once Ralph, because he was the instigator, makes things right, it's easier for her to own her part.
Yeah. I love you so much. I'm really gonna miss you.
I'm gonna miss you too, kid. I really am.
No crap. Now I'm crying.
Oh. And this is something that this movie really, really nails, is that feeling of having a best friend and growing apart or, you know, leaving. Like, Jono and I had this basically exact scene when he went off to get his master's degree.
Yeah, I remember that. But it was beautiful because, like, the friendship isn't going to be an everyday thing anymore. But it still is going to continue to exist. And this is so... This is me dropping my kids.
You hang up first.
This much.
Yeah, no, we didn't do
this much.
We did
almost this much.
No, you guys were walking across the street like...
Their little two hands.
He's okay to just be with himself.
Yeah. And I love what we see after this, you know, that they're like basically doing Zoom calls with each other every Sunday, and Ralph, secure in his attachment with himself, now no longer puts all his eggs in the Vanellope basket, and he makes friends with everybody else, and he hangs out with other people, and he's got other attachments, and it's really, really beautiful. I like to say that love can change forms and not be lost, and then we see that here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alan's eyes are red, and anytime Alan's eyes are red, I want to hear what he has to say.
I have some issues with this movie. I don't think it's as strong as the first one, but there are some scenes in it that are absolutely nail on the head, and this is one, and it does as good a job as I've seen in just about any media of that moment of knowing that our relationship is about to change. It's not going away. The love's not going away. The friendship is not going away. The attachment is not going away, but it is going to change, and that's hard, and that grief is real.
Yeah.
I've had to deal with some relationships changing form, and it's true, you have to like mourn it as it was, because as it was gone.
Yeah.
But leave room in your heart for something new that could come of it.
Mm. Yeah. Let go of what was, embrace what is, have hope for what could be.
Period.
Yeah, I didn't come up with that. I saw it somewhere, but
just take credit.
It was mine.
That's what I do.
So until next time,
we're going to the internet.
Sounds good. One minor thing. What is an internet?
And
watch movies.
Shout out to our patrons who get extra long commercial-free director's cuts.
This one's super long.
On our Patreon, folks like
Kristen Albert,
Jennifer Day,
Ellen Jensen,
Brent Myrand,
Marina Martins.
Thank you, and we love you.
We love you guys.